Right, finally time. I need to take a little time this week to sit down and actually go through getting this all prepared. But this is my week one match against Marcus of the Pokemon Go community and the Oslo Gladiators. So we had our match on Sunday. It's now Thursday, time of recording. So yeah, we'll ignore that delay. But for anyone that's been wanting to see more matches in this VG Casters Cup Draft League, here we are. And one little shout out that I needed to make before we get started that I definitely neglected to make in the analysis video I put out, that got a big thumbs up to Shmon here for helping me with one, my team logo, the Sinister Sableyes, and two, he's created the thumbnail for this video, and it was really, really nice. So big shout out, Shmon. Thank you very much. You are an absolute gem of a man. So let's get into it and kind of go through the matchup, my thoughts about Marcus's team, and then into, hopefully flawlessly, my game, so I can show you the team that I put together and talk about some of the counts behind the scenes and the things that I was using to prepare. So, press the button and it didn't work. Brilliant. Here is the matchup. So if you watched my draft analysis video already, you'll have seen this before, but my team is Blood Moon, Ursaluna, Sinistcha, Tatsugiri, Cinderace, Braviary, Cyclizar, Toxicroak, Greedent, Dondozo, Grimmsnarl, Chargebug, and Flapple. And yeah, like I said in the video, I was really, really happy with this draft pick. It's got a lot of flexibility. Also, I've just got a team of 6 actual Pokemon that could work in actual VGC. So yeah, that kind of works to my advantage overall. It makes it very difficult for my opponents to prepare for an actually pretty good team already. Now, Marcus has the other form of Ursaluna, which is definitely high up there on my priority list. Clefairy, Oranguru, so the ability to redirect and set up Trick Room, but then do the instruct shenanigans that Oranguru is really well known for. There's a really powerful foul play user and support in Persian, Alolan form, of course. Yanmega, which is actually quite problematic for my team. The flying bug coverage as a combination, and they're a good special attacker, really nice. Blastoise. So Marcus has access to Haze, which is really important. There's something every week I'm going to have to figure out is what are the Dondozo answers if I want to even think about using Dondozo at all. And the main one here, the main one that really stands out is Haze on Blastoise. You got another Trick Room setter, Carbink, which also does Iron Defense Body Press stuff, so that's really cool. Good pick up there for Marcus. Alomomola, which I challenge everybody to say 6 times in a row. That one's a little bit of a wider the mark pick for me. Doubling up on the water types, maybe not, can be actually quite useful in draft formats where you pick the one that's really useful for you. But Alola is pretty cool. It's got some nice stuff. Regenerator, Wish, Passing. That can work really well. I think it has access to Wide Guard as well. That's maybe something. Marcus, I think one of the early picks, maybe 1 or 2, picked up Basculegion so that Kosta, after drafting Politoed, couldn't get it. So thumbs up, Marcus. Good job there. And regular Arcanine, that's a great all-round Pokemon. Always good. If you don't get Incineroar, Arcanine, definitely a good follow-up. Lots of support moves there, so really, really handy. Meganium, do you know what? I kind of disrespected this early in my draft preparation, but actually it turned out to be quite good. Leech Seeds and some other things. Actually, gets Ancient Power as well, which we discovered in testing. And definitely one of the plans that we'd thought that Marcus could actually legitimately go for here was just make an almost immortal Meganium with Ancient Power. Just get the Omniboosts. Who needs any actual form of boosting? And Dracloak, which is the middle evolution of the Dragapult line. Lots of good support options. They're pretty fast as well still. Dragapult obviously one of the fastest Pokemon in the format, but you can see there all the base stats of speed in the middle. So you can kind of see how these two teams match up in terms of speed. So I've got the fastest Pokemon, but then it kind of zigzags down a little bit. We've got a lot of Pokemon in very similar speed tiers, and speed is definitely going to be one of the factors here that we have to really consider. So things that I'm kind of scared of, or at least feel like I need to have a lot of answers to. Ursaluna, obviously, because Flame Orb Guts Facade, it's such a powerhouse. Clefairy actually kind of problematic because I struggle to knock it out quickly. Like, I can knock it out, I've got spread coverage, but actually the Friend Guard does quite a lot of work, and I can't knock it out in one. I don't have a big Steel type or Poison type Pokemon to be able to deal with that very well. Blastoise with Haze I've talked about already, but it also gets Water Spout, so there's something there definitely to be concerned with, and certainly on water types there's a very wet team that Marcus has, and I think the Basculegion actually causes some problems with adaptability. Big wave crashes with Terra Water is certainly something that on the front face you got to be a little bit worried about, as well as the Trick Room mode for Dondozo. Meganium with the Leech Seed stuff, actually a little bit problematic. But the Yanmega was actually something that turned out when I was putting together a team and trying out some different ideas that actually was causing lots and lots of problems just because it's got so much good offensive coverage. And because it's got speed boost, Marcus can always end up outspeeding me. Even if I can get the jump on it for a turn, it doesn't last very long. And if not, it's Tinted Lens, which means that all the super effective attacks are double damage. Effectively, I can't resist the attacks regardless of whether I Terror or not. And those sort of things combined, if it's like carrying a Life Orb or a Choice Specs or something, actually could cause us quite a lot of problems. So I wanted to be quite respectful of that. Oh, actually, there was another thing. The Arcanine with Justified, I found out, although both Persian and Drakloak used to learn Beat Up, they actually lost access to it in Scarlet and Violet. So there was a good proportion of my preparation this week that was preparing for something that didn't exist anymore. So there is no Beat Up partner to Arcanine, and that actually really helped my preparation in the matchup, allowed me to do a few different things. So let's go flawless transition over to my game, he says confidently, clicking on the right button. Hey, there we go, dark screen. Right, so this is my team that I put together. So Grimmsnarl, Braviary, Sinistcha, Ursaluna, Dondozo, Tatsugiri. And so I got to be honest, and I'm sorry, Marcus, I just had to do this for week one. I wanted to bring Dondozo Tatsugiri to this week, almost irrespective of what Marcus's team was, because there is half a chance, being less experienced in the video game, that I wanted to take advantage of just being able to play Dondozo Tatsugiri games. And I did some work on that. We'll go through that a little bit later. But actually, the core four that I think have the strongest matchup overall against Marcus's team is Grimmsnarl, Braviary, Sinistcha, Ursaluna. That was the core of Pokemon that I wanted to use this week. Reason being that Grimmsnarl gets so much support options, or so many support options, that I really wanted to take advantage of this week, and it's definitely not the screen set that you're used to seeing, but we'll get onto that. And I felt that a combination of Grimmsnarl, Ursaluna and Braviary had the offensive capability to muscle through pretty much everything on Marcus's team, with a combination of support options plus strong attacks. So definitely my two attackers here are Braviary and Ursaluna. Grimmsnarl is there supporting the cast, and Sinistcha's there also supporting, but with a team that has 3 water type Pokemon and a ground type Pokemon in it, actually having just matcha gotcha for Sinister turned out to be pretty important. I did actually, I'll talk a little bit about this, but it did actually have a really offensive set on the Sinister early in testing, and I kind of dialed it back, and I'm glad I did. So I think the real star of the show here was this Grimsnarl set. Originally I had Foul Play over the Spirit Break, but I thought that the Spirit Break, after I found out that there wasn't any beat up to be worried about and justified with Arcanine, the Spirit Break actually, I think, turns out to be really important in the matchup, just to be able to hit Yanmega a bit harder, to be able to hit Persian a little bit harder, because Foul Play, it turns out that my Sinister has max attack IVs. And so even though it's going to be a minus nature, I don't have the right one in game, and Foul Play is actually kind of does damage. So yeah, I wanted Spirit Break as my offensive coverage, and also Covert Cloak on here because Persian's quite annoying with Fake Out, but also the Blastoise has access to Fake Out as well. So I wanted to make sure that my Grimmsnarl was going to be able to get off its moves. And really important, these moves, actually. So Parting Shot, nothing new here. Grimmsnarl can get on out of there and lower offensive of my opponent's team. That could also be quite important if the Blastoise goes for Shell Smash. So you can break a white herb before it Shell Smashes. So even though it does still get the Shell Smash off, you also hold the defense and special defense drops. And that can put it into range of other attacks. So that's quite important, but also just making sure that my Pokemon, without the screens, could still take lots of attacks. Fake Tears, again, pretty obvious. Works for Matchagotcha, works for Ursaluna, and I trained all of my Pokemon really specifically in this case, so that I could really target down what Marcus was running here. But Misty Terrain was a real star of the show. And what some people might not be aware of, and that I really wanted to take advantage of, is that because I was so scared of Ursaluna getting a foothold in the game, even though I've got Sinister, and Sinister is pretty good, but like I'd say a Terra Ground Ursaluna can avoid redirection, I wanted to make sure that the Flame Body didn't activate. And the way that I did that was by setting up Misty Terrain, and that just turns off Guts Flame Orb, which makes Facade not double in power and then be boosted even further by the Guts. Overall, it means that I have a lot more capability to withstand the attacks from Moxie's Ursaluna. So it's a dual purpose here, because both it stops the Flame Orb activating, it stops any Will-O-Wisps as well from Arcanine. That could have been quite important, especially for Bravery, but one of the ways to stop Dondozo is to burn it. So add a little bit of a dual purpose there. But also, it activates Braviary, which I'll go back to this screen for. So Braviary... Oh, I didn't talk about the Terra type. So Dragons, Marcus's team, if I just go back to it for a second, Marcus's team has water, grass, fire, and some other stuff. So I thought Dragon was pretty safe as a Terra type across the board. So Dragon, Grimmsnarl, Braviary, Dragon. Just nice defensive Terra types, and Dragon makes Braviary grounded, which means that the Misty Terrain is stopping any sort of burn shenanigans. So actually, before I get onto Braviary, I didn't actually go over it. So mostly, no surprise here, mostly defense and HP and special defense training here. No speed, no attack on the Grimmsnarl, just doing its thing. It survives pretty much everything. That was the main aim. Braviary, you can see there, it's a little bit different. And the set I went for here was Misty Seed to capitalise on the Misty Terrain that Grimmsnarl was setting up, get my special defense going, but then also means that Acrobatics is at 110 base power. And so I'm doing like four things with Misty Terrain. Like if I'm going to commit to a move slot, I wanted to make it work across the rest of the team. So activating the Misty Seed, that means that the Braviary was really unlikely to be knocked out by any of the special threats on Marcus's team, but also made it more powerful and made it so that I could pick up some pretty key knockouts across the board. It also really helped with, like, say, random terrors on Jan Mega, things like that could have been quite problematic. Moveset pretty simple: acrobatic, superpower, tailwind, and protect. So just trying to keep the coverage relatively simple, keeping superpower on there for Ursaluna just in case I had to deal with it, or maybe like a Terra Steel here or there. And I would have preferred close combat, but to be honest, I was a bit lazy and I couldn't do it. So I thought, like, I only use superpower very occasionally in this matchup. So I figured I could get away with. So you see there, lots of bulk investment here. Very minimal speed investment with the Tailwind. I was pretty happy that I didn't need much speed investment, and if I was going to Tailwind, because the only Tailwind setter on Marcus's side is Jan Mega, and I can spend a turn knocking that out while he's setting Tailwind or doing something else, and then maybe set up Tailwind later, have a deferred Tailwind turn. Not really worried too much about it, but Braviary, I focused on surviving all the attacks, especially with Terra Dragon. And this was another thing about going Terra Dragon, actually, because if I'm grounded in the Misty Terrain, it also halves the damage from Dragon-type attacks, the Misty Terrain. So I felt pretty safe across the board. Like, say if Draclo came to the game and it was Draco Meteoring or something, felt pretty safe there, especially with the Misty Seed. And it's there to really proc Defiant from Arcanine, hit pretty hard, take advantage of the Misty terrain, but also having a flying type against a threatening ground type Ursaluna was pretty nice. So going across to the Sinistcha, Terra Fairy on here, Hospitality as you'd expect, Citrus Berry kind of as you expect, really bulky set, and the common looking moveset for Sinistcha overall, Matcha Gotcha for all of the wet things and the HP recovery. This does a lot of damage in this matchup. Rage Powder, Trick Room, Life Dew. Nothing really major to explain there. And I went Terra Fairy because of Jan Mega. This was a key factor, but also because my my attack IV is so high. Foul Play actually does real damage. So I also wanted to make sure that I wasn't taking lots of super effective damage from Dark type or Ghost type Pokemon in the Basque Legion. So nothing complicated here. Lots of training in the defenses as well. Kind of the opposite way of training the Grimmsnarl. So little bit and boosting nature in defense and the rest in special defense. Kind of set up. Didn't really need too much else. This has a tiny bit in speed as well. I actually made it so that in Tailwind, Sinistcha could outspeed the Alolan Persian. So that was one of the thought processes. Is Braviary sets up the Tailwind, and then I bring in Sinistcha. If Braviary's taken a bit of damage, the Hospitality heals it up, and then you could just Matcha Gotcha acrobatics all over the place and have a swell old time. As I said before, I did actually have a lot of special attack investment in this early doors, and it was actually trained originally such that after the fake tears, Matcha Gotcha knocked out everything that was weak to it on Marcus' team. But I scaled that back because it turns out I just didn't need it. The HP recovery was enough. The odd burn is fine. Not that that necessarily happens in Misty Terrain, but hey. Fairly straightforward Sinistcha there. Ursaluna, again, fairly straightforward here. Terra Water rather than Dragon. There was a reason for this. Can't remember what it was. But it's water type. So that's good. Going with a Silk Scarf here. It turns out that Ursaluna doesn't need a lot of investment to, with Fake Tears, knock out everything on Marcus's team. One of the early builds actually had Super Fang as well on Toxicroak, which does the same thing as Foul Play. No, not Foul Play, Fake Tears. Little bit of speed investment here, but not anything major, and a lot of bulk investment to make sure that the sustained double ups and various bits of damage didn't actually knock out the Ursaluna. So Silk Scarf took a lot of the normal type calcs over the edge for Fake Tears, and you can see here that I've got a real mix in terms of investment. So tiny bit of speed, little bit of defense, mostly HP and special defense, and enough special attack to do what I needed to do for the rest of the team. And then we get up to our combos. So this is Dondozo Tatsugiri. Terra Dragon, that's a bit of a theme. I have very few Dragon Terra Shards still left in my game. And I wanted to deal with the two primary ways to power control the Dondozo, which are Parting Shot from Alolan Persian and Intimidate from the Arcanine. Substitute was there to deal with Leech Seed shenanigans and other things. Just give Dondozo a little bit of breathing room, and it turns out that the liquidation and order up, with the investment that I had in, so there's some very weird shapes on the graph here. Investment in attack was able to two-shot Clefairy. Didn't say that specifically, but Fake Tears Blood Moon was one of the calcs that I did for making sure that Clefairy always went down. Same thing for Dondozo. So if it was less bulky on the physical or special side, I could take advantage of that. Liquidation was enough to hit KO with the Commander boost. Order Up with a speed boosting Tatsugiri was there to just make sure I could keep pace with the Yanmega if that caused me a bit of a problem. And Dragon type coverage was good across the board. I think like one of the key types that it's possible that Marcus wanted to go for was Terra Grass defensively to deal with the like Sinister stuff and the ground moves from Ursaluna. I had Flapple there, not so, and two water type Pokemon in Dondozo Tatsugiri. So it's not like Grass was actually kind of a little bit threatening. So Order Up was there with the Terra Dragon to just do some generic damage. And Unaware to deal with like Iron Defense on Carbink, and to make sure that there wasn't any other sort of weird shenanigans going on there that I wasn't really expecting. And then Tatsugiri bringing up the rear really, not as fast as it could be, but fast enough based on the speeds that are going on. Didn't really intend to use this combination, but I went for the, as I said, the stretchy form that does the speed boosting thing. A little bit of extra support there in terms of taunt to deal with follow me users, and because it's carrying a focus sash, max special attack, max speed. Not really thinking too hard about it. Terra goes to get around Fake Out. We just give this a go. So that's my kind of thought process for the team. I'm really happy with it. Like I said, the first four were the ones that I really intended to use. But hey, like if I get a chance for Dondozo Tatsugiri, then definitely going to be going for it. So if I click some buttons here, then we can go to this. No, this one. Yeah. Okay, so this should be okay. In fact, actually, no. I think I will do this one because this is probably not in the way. So if I click a button here, this is game one of the match. And I didn't talk while I was playing. This was now 4 or 5 days ago that I played this game. So I'm going to talk over what my thought processes kind of were. I'll probably miss something. I'll probably have forgotten. But hey, we all get to experience this relatively fresh. So let's go with that. So seeing this team, there's a few of the problems that I'd anticipated. The Clefairy, the Yanmega was there. I was really happy actually to see Ursaluna in the 6 because I'd prepared for that so well. And I was just checking out, I think, where I wanted to be in terms of speed. So you see the Blastoise there with Haze. Was expecting that. Seeing the Arcanine, I was actually really expecting to. I was so happy that was coming to the match as well, because it gives me a clear direction for my game 1 in terms of what do I lead alongside Grimmsnarl. So Grimmsnarl was my plan for these 4 compositions, so that I've locked in here. I knew I was going to lead either Grimmsnarl Braviary or Grimmsnarl Ursaluna Blood Moon. Seeing the Arcanine says, right, just go with Braviary and see what happens. No Oranguru as well, nice to see, so less Trick Room. And immediately right off the bat, here we go. We get the Defiant, and we start to see the Braviary getting nicely set up. So Intimidate goes off. Grimmsnarl's Spirit Break is a little bit sad, but Defiant boosts up Braviary. And I'm worried here a little bit about foul play. I know that the Persian can have it, and it's a pretty common thing. And the Persian was a Terra Dark. And in fact, I will actually get up, as it's relevant, I will actually see if I can get up the Terra types that Marcus sent me, because I've definitely in all this forgotten that was we are playing open Terra types. But I protect on this turn to try and scout out the foul play. Yeah, that was it. So the Arcanine is Terra Grass and the Persian is Terra Dark in this spot. So I've protected the Braviary, Fake Out into that slot, and I wanted to just weaken the Arcanine and reposition myself slightly, just to kind of get my Braviary into a spot where I feel like it could do a little bit more. And now that the Arcanine's come out, I'm pretty free to bring out Sinistcha against these 2 Pokemon. I'm actually planning on this turn to bring out Braviary, because Haze is a thing. I'm going to lose my boosts regardless. But also I really don't want to get foul played. So Grimmsnarl's a great switch in. Quad resists foul play. I still don't know if it's there or not, because this is closed team sheets. But I know that my Braviary is in a little bit of trouble here. And I'm thinking, like, also, is there taunt on the Persian? Do I have to be worried about that or not? And I think I lock in just a match of gotcha just in case there's a taunt. I don't want to lose a turn. I'm pretty happy to just get some free damage on the board. And there it is. The taunt comes out. So, yeah, really nice. The Blastoise is a Terra Water as well. That's a really big factor here, because I know I don't have to worry about my Matchagotcha doing stuff. That's no investment, by the way. That Matchagotcha is just straight up done pretty much half to both targets. And I still haven't seen a foul play, so I still have to play around it somewhat. But I'm feeling really good about my position now. This isn't how any of my practice games went. Usually I just did a bunch of stuff. But I think Marcus is playing quite well around what I brought to the match, and playing quite respectfully, actually. I've really got to give a shout out to Marcus here for the way that he's forcing me to reposition. Even though the matchup is a bit hard for him, he's finding a way to make it work. And certainly Fake Tears was something I didn't really respect as an option onto the Persian here. But as you can see, the Dark Pulse does just less than half. I'm pretty happy with that. Citrus Berry, you want it to do just less than half. Citrus Berry goes in, and then Matchagotcha is so much damage. But it's so much damage and so much recovery as well. I absolutely love this move. I'm okay with it missing because it's just doing so much. We get the burn, but the eagle-eyed among you will know that the Spirit Break is going into Persian. No Intimidate from turn 1 anymore. So that Persian's going back. And now I don't have to worry about the Braviary getting Defiant boost. So I'm pretty happy about this spot. So then Marcus has got a choice. Like, we know that there is a Arcanine in the back, but now we find out the 4th Pokemon is Ursaluna. And I'm relatively happy about this. This is the point now where I also wanted my Grimmsnarl back on the field. And so I want to just make sure that this Ursaluna isn't going to be running rampant. I want to maintain the hospitality for later. I don't feel the need to keep on going on the offensive with Sinistra. I think I prefer it to be coming out later, especially seeing that Marcus doesn't have a Trick Room option on his team now. It's really clear that actually the Sinistra's probably an endgame Pokemon. It's already had its special defense as well, dropped by 2 stages, so I'm thinking that just swapping it out here is actually probably the best thing to do. Because at the same time, I also get to activate the Misty Terrain, stop this Ursaluna from boosting. I can take advantage of the Misty Seed to take a special attack from the Blastoise really easily, and this is something I did not prepare for. This was a great call by Marcus, because while I'm avoiding being hit by the Guts Flame boosted Ursaluna, that's a Terranormal one. That's a big fat bear. That's doing a lot of damage. And here we see Icy Wind. And I didn't see this coming because of Defiant. I actually thought that Marcus wouldn't be going for Icy Wind as a strategy just in case it procs the Defiant. Clearly got that wrong, and it was really nice in this spot because now the Braviary is just that bit slower. And I don't know, because I've got very low speed investment in my Braviary, if I even outspeed the Ursaluna at this point. So I've got to be really careful here with the way that I play this. And I actually can't remember what I did here. So let's find out together. I think I'm going to play defensively. It does seem like the sort of thing that I would do in this spot. Especially since I've got the ability to just parting shot out. Yeah, okay, there we go. Right, protect on the Braviary. So my plan is here that Braviary is taking a bit of damage. I can both weaken the Ursaluna and bring in my Sinistra. That's the big play here, so to speak, because it's probably not safety goggles. I can redirect the Ursaluna, and then I've got a 2+ Braviary to take advantage of. So some nice match there. Icy Wind coming in again. I think that's Marcus trying to make sure that the Braviary is definitely slower. So really good play there from Marcus. He's managing the speed interactions really, really well here. Now, I also kind of forgot what I was doing, that I'd taken an Icy Wind drop here. I remember being confused about this turn. But here I wanted to definitely take some, or put the pressure onto the Ursaluna. That was one of my primary goals for this position, because if I don't do damage to the Ursaluna now, it's going to be difficult to do it later. But also the Icy Winds are starting to rack up, and I wanted to try and take advantage of that and get into Trick Room environment as well, because my Blood Moon Ursaluna could then play into this position. As it happens though, like I get Trick Room, I don't get any damage on the Ursaluna. The Haze was really good there from Marcus as well. He did really well to get that off, because at that time he's negating my speed drops and I get into Trick Room, which means that he is the faster one with at least Ursaluna in the Trick Room environment. But Crunch coming out again, and Dark Pulse, and as I said in my team building prep, I'm really happy that I went to a more defensive orientation of Sinistra to be able to deal with that. Fortunate critical hit there on the superpower. I'll take all of that damage. I'll take it all the way to the bank. I definitely feel like I need it at this point. But also now with the Trick Room environment, the speed orders are reversed, which means that Blastoise goes before... Ursaluna goes before Blastoise, which means that I can Rage Powder away and attack from the Ursaluna and attack with my Braviary. So that's what I'm doing here. I think my Sinistra is faster than the Blastoise. I didn't really ever properly work this out in the match. But but I want to take advantage of now the fact that I've set up the Trick Room. I've got the speed orders actually for my opponent in the place that I wanted, not for myself, but for my opponent. And because the Ursaluna probably doesn't have Earthquake, or if it does, it has to hit itself, can't hit me with Headlong Rush, and there's the facade into it. I think Marcus had seen that on the field a few times in a row and decided that actually maybe the Sinister didn't have Rage Powder or was just going for it anyway. I think both are good options there, considering you've got an Icy Wind to try to knock out the Sinister in that spot. But definitely taking advantage of the speed orders there, getting an Acrobatics full power. So that probably would have knocked out Ursaluna before the critical hit regardless. And if it didn't, I'm probably in a position where I'm okay with it regardless. So final two Pokemon. Mist disappearing from the battlefield, so we've only got like one turn of Trick Room left here. But this is a great opportunity. Now my Braviary's boosted up as well, by the way. It's got one stage of decreased defense, and it goes to neutral. 2+. Yeah, 2+, that's it. Oh yes, because of the Icy Wind. Yeah, it goes to 2+. So yeah, my Braviary's like absolutely slapping right now. Ursaluna's still in Trick Room, so it's in a good spot. And I decide to play a little bit defensively here. Just go for my Terror Dragon on the Braviary and kind of have a good time there. That was certainly something that I was really happy to have, just in case the Arcanine for some reason was really, really slow, and there was a Flare Blitz coming my way. I was like trying to mitigate everything that I could in that spot, but Earth Power enough to pick up the KO, and we chillin'. So that's game one, and I'm going to fast forward slightly to team preview again. So game two, I've got to make this decision, right? Whether or not I go for the Dondozo Tatsugiri mode, or if I stick with the thing that's worked. And I feel like Marcus is going to switch it up a little bit, but I'm not quite sure how. Like my instinct was that Clefairy might come to the game. I still felt that Persian was going to come. I didn't think Arcanine. I tell you what, that's the thing that I didn't think was coming. I didn't think Arcanine was really going to be present in the match. The Braviary got forced out a little bit early, and I never found out if there was foul play. So I'm a little bit sceptical of leading it again in this spot. And so I thought, well, why don't we try leading Ursaluna? And this is me thinking about Dondozo Tatsugiri. I decided against it in the end. If I lead Ursaluna Grimmsnarl against this, the worst case scenario, that's why I had Terra Water on the Ursaluna. Ice types, Ice Beam from Blastoise. That's what I was doing. So that I could lead against Blastoise. And so Marcus has immediately led off the bat with something that looks actually really quite threatening. The Yanmega and Ursaluna does really threaten a Tailwind and going straight on the offensive. Yanmega was really problematic for me in testing. And so I was quite scared of this, especially with the Terra Normal on the Ursaluna. And now the decision is like, well, do I go for Misty Terrain? Because I'm assuming that this Yanmega is a Focus Sash. Do I go for Misty Terrain and stop the Ursaluna setting up? Or do I just delete the problem? Because I know I can overall deal with the Ursaluna if push comes to shove. I have the tools. And I decided on the knocking out the Yanmega straight away and allowing Flame Orb to be going off. This is something I didn't see. This Giga Drain did so much damage. I actually calced a lot on Yanmega with my Ursaluna. A Giga Drain was not something that came up at all. So Marcus found something actually really threatening because that did more than 50% damage and it would have recovered Yanmega's health. But I managed to knock it out this turn. And with the Ursaluna protecting itself from the Flame Orb, I'm happy. I'm happier trading some damage for the Yanmega than I am trading speed control for the Yanmega. Now the Clefairy comes in, and this could cause some problems. But we prepped for this. I didn't think that Clefairy was going to Terror. And I didn't think that Marcus would think, because I haven't revealed it yet, that I would have Fake Tears. So not revealing that information in game 1 was really, really beneficial here, because I had a little bit of speed on the Blood Moon Ursaluna, and the combination of Blood Moon and Fake Tears knocks out the Clefairy here and puts me in a really, really good spot. I have to trade the Ursaluna for this at this point. And I expected to trade the Grimmsnarl, actually, rather than the Ursaluna, but I think Marcus made the right play there to try and knock that out. Also noticed that... Wait, did the Clefairy go follow me or not? I actually forgotten already. But hey, regardless, last 2 Pokemon. If it's Arcanine in the back, I suspected the Arcanine wasn't here, and I was correct. But if the Arcanine was there, I hadn't seen it yet. I thought Braviary out there, I can get Defiant Boost and start really, really attacking hard. But now I'm up, but I've got healthy Pokemon, but I've really got to be careful here about how I deal with this Ursaluna. And also, Marcus has yet to Terror any Pokemon or protect. Like, there's Fake Out potential there. There's the opportunity for him to protect the Ursaluna. So I'm just playing defensively with the Braviary on this turn. I don't really want to take any risks here. And the Covert Cloak stops my Grimmsnarl from getting a speed drop, which allows me to get a little bit of extra damage there onto the Ursaluna. Now, I'm pretty confident that Superpower, after this chip of Burn, is going to be enough to pick up the KO here without any boosts. And this is the perfect spot now to bring in Sinistra. So both Matcha Gotcha are going to do lots of damage, but also there's the opportunity for me to Raid Powder away attacks. But actually I wanted to play this slightly safe because I suspected this turn was a Protect Icy Wind into Icy Wind attack. And so instead of just double attacking into the Ursaluna and having the risk of going into that Protect, I decided to just try going for Tailwind in this spot, knowing that my Braviary is probably faster than the Blastoise. I get the Matcha Gotcha off, and I don't miss, by the way, so sorry, Marcus. My bad. I could have tried to miss harder, but I didn't. This mitigates the first Icy Wind, but Marcus doesn't go for the Protect, does really well here, actually, and goes on the offensive. Gets the Crunch off. I'm not going to say I prepared for this, but I did put a good amount of defensive investment in the Sinistra for a reason. And I think this is the moment that really does seal the game, because now effectively I've got 1 speed boost on my team with the Tailwind and then a speed drop. The Braviary is all set up. I am still holding, by the way, my Misty Seed. So this Acrobatics is a little bit pathetic. But I just was like, well, I can clear this up with the Matcha Gotcha pretty easily. So you see there, Acrobatics doesn't quite KO. And yeah, Matcha Gotcha still ye old reliable, picking up the KO. So GG's, that's a 2-0. Really nice first match. Really happy that a lot of my theorying kind of came into play. I was able to execute it. Big shout outs to Marcus as well, actually. He was a really good sport in this, and we were talking after the game, and it was definitely a real hard matchup for him, because he was rightly so worried about the Dondozo Tatsugiri, and that's that's definitely a real thing, and one of the reasons that I drafted the way I did. So happy that bit worked as well. And yeah, just GG's to Marcus, really great guy. We had some fun and games with scheduling from both of us, but Marcus was great. Really enjoyed chatting to you this week, Marcus. And yeah, I really hope you managed to pull it back. I think you've got a strong draft. I think you've like, I really think you've shown that you've got the capability to play in this draft league format. Although it was a 2-0, I wasn't like completely comfortable at any point. There were still definitely things that could have gone wrong for me. So yeah, props to you, and for everyone else, I will hopefully see you next week.